Welcome to Generating Gratitude, a look at personal growth in a grateful life. What follows is not professional advice or medical recommendation, but stories and perspectives about living with gratitude. Now, here is your host, Joe Volk.
Welcome, everybody, to another blazing edition of Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. Again, thanks to our friends at Connoisseur Media for making the show possible. Let's start out our show like we always do. Can't be hateful and you can't be grateful at the same time. And really, that is true. My whole thing is founded on being grateful as opposed to being hateful. One of the things I'm grateful for are the number of different people we get to talk to on this program, whether it's recovery from trauma, recovery from addiction, just recovery in general. And I have a new person with us. Holly is with us, and I know nothing about Holly. I've never met Holly, but I was reading her story on Facebook, and I also took a view of her TED Talk. And so with that, we'll welcome Holly to Generating Gratitude. Holly, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your story, dear.
Sure. So I am 32 years old right now. I am a mother and a wife, a military spouse. And in the military, a lot of times you get caught up in drinking and, trying to be like the neighbor next door and trying to fit in. So from a very young age, I struggled with alcohol addiction, and I got sober 4 years ago. And it completely changed my life. I do look at life now with so much gratitude and so much more appreciation for the little things.
It's interesting. You got sober at 22? Doing the math in my head.
Yes.
I got sober at 23. And I've been
Oh, okay. So you're right there.
I've been there.
Congratulations.
Well, I'm a lot older.
We didn't have to admit that on air.
I'm a lot older. But getting sober at a younger age, I've always said this, presents a different challenges. I go to a lot of support group meetings, and a lot of people enter the program 40s, 50s, and 60s. But
yeah,
you got sober at 22. What were some of the challenges you faced being that young?
Sure. Yeah. So I was 27 when I got sober, or 28, somewhere around there. My sober date is March 6th, 2022. And so, yeah, being in your 20s and being young, when you go into the rooms, that's what addicts call them.
Mm-hmm.
When you go into AA or NA or any of those types of rooms, you are the youngest one, and your testimony necessarily isn't believed and it isn't heard properly. And it's really hard to find community during that. And so while trying to find my own community, I created a TED Talk, sent it in to TEDx, with our local university here, and they accepted it. And it talks about the sober generation, which has absolutely nothing to do with age and everything to do with how we're living right now. Nearly half of Gen Z report trying to completely eliminate alcohol usage from their life. And they're younger than I am. And so that is crazy to me. And I love that. It's so beautiful, but there needs to be more spaces for them. So we just did get back from a camp in Canada called Sober Island. I've been to a couple Camp Sober Fests, and we're trying to start one out in the Midwest as well. Trying to get that going and trying to get more mocktail menus growing, different things like that, different spaces where you can just kind of be yourself.
And again, we're talking about younger people because I can certainly relate. I remember when I got when I got sober in '86. Okay, that's how old I am. I remember walking into my first AA meeting.
Yes.
And there were a lot of older guys there. And frankly, I thought they were going to beat the hell out of me. I thought they had a thing called a first step room where they take you back for your first meeting, and I remember just it was in Battle Creek, so it was a bunch of old blue collar guys.
That's right. Okay.
That worked at the cereal factory, and one of them, you know what happens
My dad was probably part of that meeting. No.
Yeah. you know what happens to. There's three ways your life is going to end up. You're either going to end up covered up because you're going to drink yourself to death. You're either going to get yourself locked up in jail or a mental institution, or you're going to sober up. What do you pick? And I'm all timid and sober.
Yeah, right.
Sober, please don't beat me up.
Yeah, and it can be very intimidating too. I did start a group on Facebook. It's called Great Lakes Sober Community Group Chat. And so it is just for us to tell our stories. I've got people in there from all the way from Pawpaw to Tawas to Munising, a couple people from Canada. And so it's just really a way where now with the age of internet, we're very lucky that there are so many ways that we can communicate. It's just one more way to communicate and keep in touch. And honestly, I think community, especially in sobriety, breeds accountability.
Yeah.
When you have someone with you who is your mirror, you realize that, one, you're not alone, and number two, that you don't want to not only let yourself down, but you have someone there who you don't want to let down.
Right, that accountability and especially reaching out to younger people, because younger people, to be honest, don't have a lot of social skills where they're more comfortable sitting in a room and texting it to you as opposed to actually talking about it. And there's my old man get off my lawn moment right there. But it's very true though. Even like my sister is in recovery as well. Shout out to her. She's 2 months sober. And she doesn't like the rooms at all and can't bring herself to go. So we do every Friday night a Zoom, meeting, and it's an all women's AA meeting. And yeah, so there is good and bad to it. I like that she's able to attend a meeting and hear others' testimonies, but I think that it is a little bit different when you get to see that person in person and go hug them afterwards and feel their emotion as well. Right. Social media is a good way to dip your toe into the water, but you have to dive in all the way.
That's right, exactly. And honestly, I agree with 100% abstinence. I agree with, honestly, any path that gets you there, whether it's MAP medication, whether it's cold turkey, whether you went into rehab, whatever you did. I'm not here to judge that. And I am just happy that you're, wanting to find sober community, and especially at young ages. Most people instead would be wanting to find, the party on campus. Yeah. And you're looking for someone to talk to. And that's just absolutely beautiful. And so I think the sober generation is a lot of, 30s and under, looking at what has happened and looking at, how the economy has gone, how our lives have gone, looking at our parents' lives and realizing that more than half of them have ended in divorce. And we just don't want that. It's like, let's take our power back. Alcohol took way more from me than it ever gave to me. And the second I put it down, I just literally watched, it was like magic happening. God's works were everywhere.
We're talking with Holly and Sober Generation. Love the topic. When we come back, we'll talk more about Holly's journey and the challenges that young people face today, and I want to talk a little bit about marijuana as well. You're listening to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. Welcome back to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. My guest is Holly. She talks about the sober generation, the special challenges of young people. Holly, you mentioned that more and more young people aren't drinking, and I've seen that's happening, but I'm concerned about marijuana because I think that marijuana is being seen as a wonderful alternative to alcohol. But
right. When in reality,
the addiction, especially the marijuana now, because again, I'm going to do the whole old man get off my lawn. The marijuana that's sold in stores now is amazingly, from what I understand, more potent than the stuff we got in the 70s. That was grown in the backyard at a farm in the thumb. And
100%. Yes. Well, and honestly, I'll age myself a little. I was dabbling even before dispensaries were around. So addictions always run deep in my blood, and whether it was marijuana or whether it was a little bit of, something else someone had, or it because we didn't have any alcohol or whatever. Most of the time, addiction comes from people trying to root out their own trauma. It comes from somewhere where there is an unhealed wound or where there is an empty void. And no matter what substance you use, the addiction still grows, and it still grows. And so swapping one for another obviously doesn't help us all that much. And in my opinion, yes, there are, I will say this, I'll preface with there are wonderful medicinal properties to cannabis. And if you are using it correctly, then that is, and it's prescribed by a doctor, good for you. But when you're an addict, you don't have those same, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have the same type of mindset, honestly. When you're an addict or an alcoholic, your mindset is, okay, well, I just want to escape. And so you're not using it medicinally, and I'm sure it's not prescribed to you. And though it might be legal in our state, federally, it's still illegal. And there is a reason for that. And so for me, I love when someone comes to me in the program and they're like, listen, this is, and it helps me. And I'm like, that's great. We're going to wean down off of that and be done with that, because we need to be totally abstinent in order to find our purpose, to find the good, to smell the flowers again, to see how green the grass is again, all of that. I do think that for a lot of the younger generation, marijuana has become the go-to if you're not a drinker. But truly, abstinence is the only way for an addict or an alcoholic to recover, in my opinion.
Right. It's been my experience. If I am powerless over alcohol, I'm probably powerless over a lot of stuff, which is why my own personal choice, I know my addictive personality, that's why I don't gamble.
Same. Oh, my goodness, we're so similar.
Yes, because
my whole family gambles, and I don't, because I'm so addicted that I know myself.
Yes.
I'll be taking out money from accounts I don't have.
Yes, that addictive personality that I have.
Yes.
And well, you've got an addictive mind. You know that you'll lie to yourself. Oh, I'm just gonna wager $20, or oh, I just need to smoke something to relieve my pain, and then all of a sudden it's more and more and more until,
Yeah.
oh boy, we got a problem
We're
here.
back. Yeah, exactly right. It is very much like that. And I do think that it's the same way with marijuana. It definitely can be. And it is the same way even, with alcohol. I mean, being 3 years sober, myself being 4 years sober, is people look up to you and they are like, oh, how do you do that? And it's mind over matter, one day at a time. Let's start there. But I also know that my brain likes to play games with me and trick me. So if I'm out somewhere and everybody's drinking or somebody's drinking, I don't even ask for a mocktail. I am drinking literally out of a child's cup, so that there is no way that there's alcohol going into my drink. I know that I'm having a lemonade, and I know that that is what my intentions are, and I'm going in to do that. Now, when I get to the bar, my mind is going to say to me, you could have one.
Yeah.
You could just have one.
Oh, sure.
You could just have one. And for sometimes it's like it's a war within yourself. Or am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? And every time, obviously, I've chosen not to do it. But it's a struggle, and it can be a daily struggle for sure. And so to substitute alcohol with anything else, honestly, is just you're putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole, in my opinion.
I don't understand the whole mocktail thing. It's just like I don't understand no alcohol beer. I've developed a saying in AA that surgeons shouldn't juggle knives. If you make a living with your hands, you shouldn't be juggling knives. Well, that's kind of my view, and it's just my own personal view of mocktails and no alcohol beer. Why are you even putting yourself in position?
I agree with that. So we actually had a non-alcoholic beer company reach out and sponsor one of our events that we did. And they were going to put those in the gift baskets. And I took them all out of the gift baskets because I had the exact same position that you do. If for some reason someone gets a hint of, like, my favorite drink, was vodka and Red Bull. If I drink a Red Bull, it triggers my mind to be like, you know what would go great with this? Some vodka.
Yes.
Every single time. And so I'm like, no, if somebody loved White Claws or seltzers, like, no, they would have had those, and they're still 0% or whatever. But then that could trigger their brain to be like, let's go get another White Claw. You could have just one, And people in early sobriety, especially, like we had people like my sister who are only 2 months, or a couple girlfriends who only had a couple weeks under their belt. I was like, not letting that happen. Sorry.
Yeah, I use another great analogy. It's a little crude, and sorry if I offend. And it's kind of the same as being naked with somebody that's not your spouse. Well, we weren't cheating, but we were just naked with each other. Try that one at home. See how that works.
I actually really like that analogy.
See it.
That one's great. Yeah, see how that plays over.
See how that. Oh
dear,
dear, we weren't doing anything. We were just naked with each other.
Yeah, exactly right. And it is just like that. It's like, especially if you need to hide it, right? If you don't feel comfortable pulling it out in front of your child, your grandmother, your spouse, then it is a problem. And that I see happen with marijuana a ton. Because alcohol has always kind of been like a rite of passage. You turn 21, whatever. People don't necessarily bat their eyes so much at that. But I do, especially the older generation, they're like, no, we need to be abstinent. And I 100% agree. Then there's the younger ones who are, going behind wherever the meeting is and, getting their dab pen or whatever.
Yes.
And you're like, that's not how this works at all.
No.
And so for them, I just urge them to slowly taper down, wean off of what you're doing. I did it. You can do it too. If I did it, trust me, anybody can do it, baby. Taper yourself down slowly and, just stop and see if it doesn't change your world. The first week will suck. It always does. But by the time you get to 1 month, you're like, oh my gosh, there are so many miracles happening that I was missing.
Yeah.
That it's everything. It's so worth it. And you get that time back with your family. You get that time with your kids. You get that time with your spouse or, your loved ones back. And it's so good to go and have them look at you and then tell you, wow, you look so healthy.
Exactly. Holly is with us. We're going to take another short break. Holly, and dealing with the challenges of being a younger person in recovery. And that is more difficult than you think, being younger. Because when you're younger, you're still struggling to find out, or at least I was anyway, who I was. And I was trying to cover that up with a lot of alcohol. Being that drunk 14-year-old. But we'll continue our discussion here on Generating Gratitude. Great topic. Plus, we'll also talk to Holly about her journey. Because everybody's journey is an amazing story. Because nobody gets there in the same way. But we all get there, and that's the most important thing. You're listening to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. We'll be right back.
Now it's time for more great moments in gratitude with your host, Joe Volk.
Welcome back to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. Gratefully talking to Holly, who's talking about the challenges of being sober, getting sober, staying sober at a younger age. Holly, what was your turning point? When did you hit the bottom? When was it for Holly that, okay, never again?
So and this is fun because I truly believe everybody has their rock bottom point. And so my rock bottom point actually came, me and my husband were both drinking and we're both alcoholics. And my rock bottom point came when we were about to leave the military, and I couldn't take it anymore. I just could not take the way we were treating each other. I remember growing up in a household like that. Our kids were still very young at the time, 6 and 3, and I remember growing up in a household like that and thinking, I can't do this to my children. If that means that I have to do it alone, then I have to do it alone. So I looked at my husband. He had 2 months left on his contract, and they were medically retiring him. And I said, I'm going home to Michigan, and I'm taking the boys with me. And if you want to be with us when you get there, you'll be sober. And I took those 2 months to sober up from everything, to get the kids what they needed, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, things I had put off for forever because of my own addictions. And yeah, first it was very tough, and it was not my favorite decision to make, obviously, to leave my husband who's fighting for our country. But it was the right one. He came home 2 months later, sober, and we've never been stronger. There's never been a time where I can't come to him and say, hey, I'm craving this, or hey, I'm having this feeling, and he doesn't validate it. He gets it and he understands because he was it. He's counseled at these camps with me now, and he is co-founding a camp for Michigan for us. He's also an admin in our group on Facebook, so if you ever need to find us at Great Lakes Sober group chat on Facebook, he's in there too. I think a lot of young men have a tougher time finding community sometimes and finding sober community. Women, I think we mature a little bit quicker, or we try to, at least. And for us, around 25, we start to kind of see the light, and we're like, whoa, maybe this isn't great. And I think for men, it doesn't, happen normally till like 30s, 40s, somewhere around there. And so for a lot of young men who are seeking sobriety, it's a great group. He is a great person to talk to. Yeah, it was definitely either we stayed drinking and divorced, or we got sober and made it work, and we are happily married for 6 years, been together for 12.
It's interesting you bring up the military, and there's one, I sit in enough meetings to listen to stories about people that perfected their alcoholism or perfected their drug use in the military.
Yes, yes, very much so.
I wish the military brass would pay a little bit more attention to substance abuse issues, because you look at, and again, this is just a Joe thing, you look at all the homeless veterans. Well, odds are it's probably a substance abuse problem. We let people perfect their drinking and their drug use in the military, then we let them out.
Yes, 100%. And it's a very normal thing. We celebrate in the military with alcohol. It's at every celebration. It's at every graduation. It's at every, holiday. It's at everything. And it's legally one of the only substances that the soldiers can use. And obviously, if you're like my husband, a combat veteran, and you've seen things that no man or woman should have to see, there is some trauma under there. And so you're trying to cover up something. No one literally gets out of the military and thinks to themselves, I'm going to be homeless now. No. They get out of the military and think to themselves, okay, what's my next move? And where do I go from here? And while the military does a great job at providing, jobs, they don't do a great job at providing housing. They don't do a great job at providing counseling. They don't do a great job at providing substance abuse counseling. And they don't realize how many people leave with a substance use disorder. So many that I have talked to are like, I was an alcoholic when I was in the military. And I'm like, yes, everyone is. Terrible to say, but so true. And so, yeah, I think it was just the environment that we were in, and it finally hit its breaking point. But that environment, I really do, just like you, wish that the higher-ups, that the brass, that somebody, with a little bit of power would be like, halt, I think we might have an issue here.
You bring up a good point, too, because you're talking about why it's more difficult for younger guys to get sober as opposed to younger women. And the military brings up that point because it's a macho environment, and you should be able to hold your alcohol, damn it.
Exactly right. Exactly it, too. And my husband's drinking started when he was in the infantry, when he first joined back in 2010. And he was deployed to Afghanistan and all that good jazz. And so, so for him, especially an infantryman, when you get home and everybody's at the VFW, you know what I mean? You better be able to hold your own, or you're getting called names. I don't know how many infantrymen I've been around, and they've made fun of me for not being able to do the shot.
Right.
So it is very much like that. And it is, even if you're a woman in the military, it is still very much a macho environment, and if you don't want to, you want to do what your peers are doing. That is a very much uniform society in which you want to fit in. and you want to have community as well. And so when your community is all, very rugged people and they're also all drinkers, you become that as well, even if, you were somebody that never drank.
Especially with younger macho type environments, admitting that you're powerless over alcohol is not viewed as a good thing, is viewed as weakness.
Yes. Yeah. And the craziest thing to me is that that's the most powerful thing I have ever heard my husband say.
Yeah. It just admitting that I am powerless.
Yes. That's the most powerful thing he's ever said to me, is that I can't help it. I have an addiction. And I was like, not a problem. We are going to get you the help you need. Once you admit it, then we can help you. Then we can go from there. But when you're hiding it, there's no, and especially in the military or in macho environments or, college even, you really, really just want to be like your peers. And so if all your peers are doing one thing and you are doing the opposite, it looks wrong somehow, even though you're doing the right thing.
If I had $1 for every time in the morning after, when I was in college or high school, that I would punish myself, why can't I drink like everybody else? Why do every
100% same.
Why is it every time I drink, my car is dented? Why is it that every time that I drink, my friends leave me behind? I just want to be normal. And I can't, and I can't understand it.
Yes. So many of us have been there. And I feel like reaching towards the younger generations, especially me, hosting the TED Talk on campus and having a lot of younger people be able to listen to it, was great. A lot of people have told me that I've gotten messages in my inbox. I've gotten people who have stopped me while I was grocery shopping, which I thought was so cute. I saw your TED Talk, and it made me question my own relationship with alcohol. So even now, if I do go out with friends, I only have one, and I'm everyone's babysitter. And I'm like, I love that for you. That's amazing. Good. So I just, even if you take nothing else from our talk, I hope that someone would walk away with the feeling of there is so much more to be gained through sobriety than you'll lose during your addiction.
And of course, we're talking to Holly here on Generating Gratitude. Coming back after this short commercial break, we'll talk to her about her TED Talk, and we'll wrap it up. You're listening to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. Welcome back to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. Joe, still Joe. Holly, still Holly with us, talking about the challenges of younger people getting sober. And before we went into break, Holly, you brought up an important point about younger people. And while everybody in the world wants to fit in, it's more important to fit in the younger you are. Nobody wants to be the weird one.
Yeah, nobody ever wants to feel left out either.
Right. But it can work different ways too, and that's why what you do is so amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Because you got to reach out to kids, people that are fighting addiction, fighting alcohol abuse, and just reach out and say, hey, you're not alone.
100%. And like you and I spoke earlier, it was, 13 and 14. Hello, like, you're so young. So that's my aim and my mission, is to bring the talk into high schools and universities, possibly even juvies or jails, and just let people know you're not alone. You might feel alone, but you're not. I've been right where you are. There's a million people who have been right where you are. Would you be willing to let me show you, the big book or AA or NA or whatever? Would you be willing to speak with me even? Sometimes talking is all it takes.
And we also need role models. And I know that AA means anonymous, and they're all into this anonymous stuff. But younger people especially need somebody they can identify with. I can identify with, well, he's sober, she's sober. I want to be like that person. How did that person do it? And with younger people, that's even more critical.
100%, I agree. It's, I think, the most critical when they're younger. It can take everything from you. It can take your family. It can take your house. Addiction will strip you of everything. And so the sooner you rid yourself of that and you join in the sober generation, the better, in my opinion. So even just having that conversation with strangers, talking to them about what I do and why I do it and why I'm so passionate about it is such a good way to let them know that you're not alone. I am very, yes, I love AA, and I love that it's anonymous so that people feel comfortable going there. But I am so the opposite of that. I don't know, God gifted me with, I don't know if it's a gift or a curse, but he gifted me with no filter on this mouth. And so I will talk to strangers. I have no problem with that. If you, like, John found me on Facebook and everything, and you found me on Facebook. I've had a lot of people reach out through social media and stuff. If you just look up Holly Korhorn, feel free to follow me, add me, ask me questions. We're all just normal humans trying to survive one day at a time. And if we can do that with people who are similar to us and have similar values to us, like to my core, sobriety and family and, young, fun things to do, like going camping with our little families and stuff like that. I think it's great for people to have somebody to look up to. And I'm definitely not afraid to put my name out there, good or bad.
Well, you know what? Your name is out there, and I'm doing a radio show, so we're not very good at being anonymous, Holly.
I guess we failed that part of AA, but everything else we're doing great.
Well, and one of the things, too, that I want to, I like to bust the chops of people that have been around a while, because there's a lot of gray hair in support groups meetings, and I urge these gray hair people, don't be the cranky get off my lawn person. Reach out, talk to people, talk to the younger people. Yes,
for sure. One of my favorite people that I go to when I am feeling low or feel like I need a drink doesn't even live near me. She's all the way out in California, and she's in her 60s, okay? But she literally, her soul saw my soul and saw that I needed some guidance. And she sat down and braided my hair and spoke to me and made me feel her equal and talked to me about things, about being a mom in addiction. And I'm a mom in addiction, and my mother is too, and we have a strained relationship. And so we really, there were commonalities there. And though we're separate generations, we really took to each other, and I still call Kim to this day. So I think that if you're ever in the rooms or you're ever in a place where there's a sober event happening and you'd feel like, oh, there's like a 30-year age gap here. I don't know if that person needs you. They need that. They need the big brother, big sister, mom, dad, whoever vibe that you're about to go give them. Go speak to them without judgment. And yeah, it's probably going to annoy you because we say dumb things and we use our cell phones and we talk and text.
Right.
But give us some grace, okay, because we're trying to get sober. And just reach out for sure.
It's amazing the power of just going over and say, hey, how's it going?
100%.
No more, no less. Just, hey, how's it going? And then let them, vomit all over you, right?
Exactly right. You've had it happen so many times now. You already know. You're like, word vomit's coming. I can see it all over your face.
We're going to wrap this up, Holly. Holly, how can people access your TED Talk?
Yeah, so if you just go to YouTube and you type in TEDx, Central Michigan University, or TEDx The Sober Generation, you will find it there. It's about 12 to 14 minutes long, pretty short. And yeah, I would love for everybody to give it a watch.
And of course, they can find that there. And if somebody, you're on Facebook, obviously, you're on all the social medias. I like to wrap up the show with asking everybody a question. And the simple question, what are you grateful for, Holly?
I am so grateful for my marriage. I am so grateful that we stuck it out, that we sobered up, that we made it through, and that our kids get to see a happy, healthy household.
And anything else grateful for? Kids, right? Even though they're
100%. Oh yeah, I didn't know I could go on. I was like, I'll go on and on if you need me to.
You got a minute of gratitude, Holly. Go ahead.
Oh, yay. Okay, good. Yeah, so 100% my husband, my children, my sobriety, my sober family, my sponsor, Rachel, my sister, who's now in recovery, my father, who just marked over a year sober after drinking for 50 plus. I am so grateful for you having me on here in this show. I'm grateful that the sun is shining this morning. I am grateful to take another breath, and I'm grateful to be of service to others. I am grateful to God and just to this little life of mine.
Holly, thank you very much. Holly, of course, her TED Talk, The Sober Generation, doing great work with younger people because it's tough. I was there. I got sober at 23. And you always kind of felt weird being young and being the non-drinker in the room. But Holly, very grateful for you and grateful that you were on the show and shared your story. Also grateful, Jonathan Dent, the producer today, under trying circumstances. Thank you there. Thanks to our friends at Connoisseur Media for making this show possible. Wrap it up with folks, you can't be hateful and you can't be grateful at the same time. And the amazing thing about can't be hateful or you can't be grateful at the same time, it's your choice. Your choice. Hateful or grateful. We'll see you next week.